Looks like we lost one.
Nope, it's coming back. All right, it is 3 o'clock. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Um, my name is Phil Crawford. I am with the computer maintenance and networking program. We have a little slideshow here in the back. I'm gonna go first. Mr. Schmidt is going to go second. At the conclusion of mine, if you have any questions for me, please feel free to chime in or type it in the chat, and I'll answer those to the best of my ability. So, again, my name is Mr. Crawford with Computer Networking and Maintenance. A little bit about me. I have a BA from Webster University. Also have a master's from Lindenwood University. I have been a teacher and IT support specialist in varying roles different schools. My most recent job before Lewis and Clark was at Ursuline Academy. I was an IT support specialist there. I taught coding and was doing level 1 sort of IT support there, working on printers, Chromebooks, smart boards, things of that nature. So as far as computer networking and maintenance, it is a 1-year program. It's available to high school juniors and seniors. The mandatory certification test that the kids will take is for the PC Pro certification. There is an optional CompTIA A+ certification at the end. This does come at an extra cost to the students. There are actually 2 different tests that they can take to complete the certification. A Skills USA membership is also required for this class. We also offer dual credit through State Technical College for an extra fee as well. Sorry, just an overview of some of the things that we will cover in computer networking. Okay, we talk about binary and hexadecimal number systems. We go over troubleshooting for hardware and software. We devices. We get into network infrastructure. We talk about I/O devices, virtualization, and cloud computing. There are a bunch of different topics and subtopics inside of all of these that we'll cover as well. The highlight, I would say, of the class being hands-on is being able to break down and build computers every year. Students seem to really enjoy that out of all of the activities that we do. The daily expectations for class. I just ask that the students come prepared with pens, pencils. I will actually give them anti-static straps and a microfiber cleaning cloth. If they prefer to take notes with notebooks, they can bring those as well. I also ask the students to be ready to fail and to ask questions often. There's going to be a lot of things that we cover that the students haven't covered in some of their other classes at the depth that we cover it. So I ask them to always ask questions. The other thing that they'll need to have is a set of headphones or earbuds with a 3.5 millimeter audio jack for class use. There are some videos that we'll watch on our own in class. So students will need those. We don't have any sort of lightning connections. If you have an iPhone, our machines also don't support Bluetooth. So it will need to be a wired headphone or earbud set with a 3.5 millimeter audio jack. Okay. Students are also expected to be active learners and collaborators. There's a lot. Students will have questions. There are some students that come into the class that are rather advanced. I like for students to take the initiative and ask two other students before they come and ask me a question to see if the student in question and another student can figure out the answer to what's happening before I intervene. So, and the last thing is cell phones are not to be used unless it's on break time or otherwise specified. I try to let the students be adults and treat them as adults, but there are times where, you know, kids will be kids and they will try and pull out and use their cell phones during class when they're not supposed to. So I have a place for all of their cell phones to be put up safely. And once we've implemented that solution, we really haven't had any sort of problems with cell phones. A grading policy, it breaks down as follows. 30% of it is employability. Employability includes showing up to class on time, communicating with me when you are not going to be here, having all of your materials ready to go, having your anti-static cloth, and having your other building materials that we may need, being respectful in the class. These are all things that you would have to do in a workplace and will count for your employability. 50% is tests and quizzes. Unfortunately, this is the part that kids don't like as much because it's a little bit more like traditional school. There is a lot of vocabulary. There is a lot of things that students are going to have to remember. After all, I am trying to get them baseline industry standard sort of certification. So there is a lot that they'll have to remember and a lot that they'll have to do with regard to tests and quizzes. The other 20% is labs and participation. So this is all of the stuff that we're going to do. This is all of the building that we're going to do, making sure that we're following all the procedures and being safe while we're building. So that whole makeup makes up the class. These are just some pictures of some of my current students. We just built new machines this year for our class to use. We're actually waiting on some parts, but we're going to build the machines for Mr. Schmidt's class as well. So is there anybody that has any questions? All right. Well, if nobody has any questions, I will throw it to Mr. Schmidt.
Okay, hi everyone. My name's Thorin Schmidt. I teach the computer software development class here at Lewis and Clark. And yeah, some of my hobbies, writing code, love playing tabletop RPGs, which is more the old school stuff, playing Minecraft and watching anime. That's what I do when I'm not teaching. So that's cool. But I've been in the software development game. Well, all told, probably about going on 21 years. 13 of that was spent in prison as a teacher. That was a nice joke when I first started it in public school, but I taught computer science in prison for 13 years. So, moving to high school was a real treat. Made it a lot nicer. Before that, I was a software developer before I started teaching, and kind of began software development right after I got out of college. Got a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Did it kind of the old school way. Yeah, that was kind of traditional. Actually graduated from Lindenwood locally. Started out though up in Maryville, Missouri at Northwest Missouri State, and just finally finished it out. And yeah, but I found out that I enjoyed teaching a lot more than I enjoyed being a programmer. So I started teaching and never really looked back. Yeah. So that's a bit about me. All right. Now for the course particulars. First of all, my program is either a 1-year program or a 2-year program. We kind of partnered a little bit together, computer networking and stuff, that if someone takes the computer networking class, then they can also come a 2nd year and participate in this class and earn a certificate with what we're doing. Or they could start with me and move next door to maintenance, or just stay here for 2 years. When we start, so we can accept juniors and seniors, just like, well, every other class in Lewis and Clark. You can start as a senior if you want to, and that'll be a 1-year certificate, or you can start as a junior and work as well. In this class, Skills USA membership is a requirement as well. That's, I believe, $20 right now. And that's stayed that way for quite a while. So there we go. Couple other things that we will be involved with is there's an online learning site called Grok Academy, and students will earn a certificate from there as part of what we do. Not the be all end all, but it is a nice little thing to have in your portfolios and moving on. There's also a website called W3 Schools. Now, they're the people that actually invented the World Wide Web, hence the W3. And they also have a number of certifications that you can earn. In our program, over the 2 years, you could take certification tests in Python, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and SQL, or SQL as it's called, which is a database processing language. And those tests are each $90, and so they're not required, but they are available. And what you learn throughout the courses here will prepare you to pass those exams. So it's a nice thing to kind of add to it. Yeah, I guess that's about it. Okay, so there is 2 years, and they're basically split up in a 2-year cycle. Okay, this year I'm doing year B, so next year we'll start year A, and so kids who come in next year, well, this is what we'll be going over. And if you come back next year, or kids that start next year, will be taking up year B. So it depends on whichever year you come into, which course you have first. If you stay for 2 years, you'll have both. And if you stay for one, well, you have a self-contained courselet. I don't know what you call it, but that will earn you a certification as well through Lewis and Clark. So the the year A topics are the Linux operating system. I do that because any software professional will tell you that the internet runs on Linux, not Windows, and you need to know how to navigate Linux if you're going to do any kind of serious development. We also use the Agile software development philosophy. It's not really a methodology, but Agile software development is just a process of how you develop software. We teach that, and they'll be familiar with it by the time that they are done. Problem solving, of course, and program design, which is basically how the heck do you even start figuring out how to write these things, which is really a key component that a lot of courses kind of gloss over in the push to teach a language, which we do teach. I use Python programming. It's the number 3 most used language in the world right now, and has been steadily climbing to that spot over the past 8 years. I don't know if it'll take the top spot, but it's definitely one of the fastest growing and most used development languages out there. So that's the one I use. In addition, we'll learn graphical user interfaces. So we'll make graphical applications, object-oriented programs, and something called event-driven programming, which is different from the traditional type of programming that we'll start out with. But we will cover both of those. Okay, and that pretty much, yeah, that covers year A. There's a lot in that, so that takes most of the year. The year B, which is what we're doing right now, we do go over the Linux operating system just for, well, one, returning students have largely forgotten everything that they did the first year with it over a summer of using Windows, and the new year students, the first year students need to catch it as well. So we hit that twice. Then we start in by learning about databases and SQL, how you set up databases, how you design them, all that good stuff. Then we talk about how the heck do you start developing websites? How are they used? How do they really operate? All the kind of nitty-gritty stuff that you largely don't even notice when you just browse the internet. Once we've got that settled down, then we talk about the basic HTML coding language. So HTML and CSS, they kind of go hand in hand. You can use HTML by itself, but HTML with CSS is like a plain steak is nice, but steak with all the garnishes is even better. Once we've covered and locked down the basic HTML skills, then we move on to advanced HTML skills. And once we have those, we can then learn to incorporate JavaScript, which is another programming language like Python, but it's geared for working with HTML pages to make them, I don't know, do tricks, be active, any of those interactive websites that have cool animations and buttons you can fill out or forms to fill out and submit, that's done with JavaScript. So that'll enable us to make real world production web pages. And once someone is done with this course, I have several students that They're supplementing their college days with freelance web design work that they're doing just on their own because, yeah, they've got the skills. So yeah, that's kind of year B. All right. So the daily expectations that I have for my class, be prepared for the day before the bell rings. That's a big one with me, is that just like work, at 8 o'clock, you're supposed to be starting work, not wandering in, putting your coat up, going to get coffee and all that. You're supposed to do that stuff before the day starts, and be ready to go when work starts. So that means I want my students to arrive, log into the system, check their emails real quick, check Google Classroom to make sure there's nothing new, and just get their system ready to launch into today's activities, which are all going to be posted in Google Classroom. They will actually know ahead of time what's going on. My expectation is also my time is my time and their time is their time. From 8 to 10:25 is my time, aside from the 20 minutes that they have a break in the middle of class. And my expectation is that they're focused on what we're doing and I'm the one in charge. But when it's their break time, I'm not going to ask them to do anything, and they can pursue whatever it is that they would like to pursue during that 20 minutes, as long as it won't get me fired or thrown in jail. I ask my students to dress as an IT professional. Most of the time, that is anywhere from business casual on up. Polos and khaki pants or polo shirts and nice blue jeans can get by as well, or anything higher than that, dress shirts, button-down collars, all that is also wonderful. I don't ask them to buy overalls or, like the automotive place, buy a full shop uniform or anything like that, or scrubs. It's just, hey, get yourself some polo shirts and some khaki pants, at least. So there's that. Kind of along what Mr. Crawford said, you need to accept that getting good at programming means, well, you're going to start out being bad at it. This is all new. You have to learn not only the language, but problem solving and logic. There's a lot there. So, and you can't absorb it all at once. It comes in fits and starts. So, it's a lot like skateboarding. Tony Hawk, the first time he got on a skateboard, fell on his butt. And the second time too, until he became a professional, renowned skater. This is the same way. And finally, ask for help. Goodness. I have posters up in the room that use the acronym SNOT, which everybody finds gross or funny, but it does stick with everybody. That was a bad pun. But anyway, SNOT stands for self, neighbor, other, and teacher. Like Mr. Crawford, ask your neighbor for help, look on it on the internet, and then if you haven't found anything in about 10 minutes, well, definitely, yes, come get me. Don't be stymied forever, but just learn to ask around and look for answers on your own before just giving up and saying, hey, Mr. Schmidt, I can't figure it out. So there we go. Supplies for the class. Well, I don't know if it's really a supply, but it's something that you have to purchase, is a Skills USA membership. And then headphones as well. with a microphone in my class. Especially with COVID, we need to keep apart a bit. So we collaborate online. So having a microphone there enables you to talk with the person who's across the room without shouting and screaming. And assuming that we have fairly modern systems that is being built over there in Mr. Crawford's room, USB would be fine, or 3.5 millimeter is also acceptable for those headphones. It would also be very, very helpful to have a flash drive. I have a few for use in class, but a lot of times we do almost everything online, but sometimes you just can't beat, hey, dump it on a flash drive and take it home or pass it to another computer. So having one of those is also very, very beneficial. So let's see. Grading policies then. Little bit of a flip from CMN. Employability is 30%. However, the quizzes and labs quizzes and classroom kind of activities will only be worth about 20%. The 50% comes from writing the programs, making the websites, participating in laboratory, well, I call them laboratory activities, but I don't do a lot of just little bitty, let's count to 10 programs, or let's make a square on the screen. The web pages and the programs that we write are designed to be real world applications, things that you could load onto your phone if you wanted to, and many students do. So that's, the only way to learn to write programs is to write programs. So I kind of make that a big part of the grade. So employability and hands-on working in lab, those are your big breadwinners for the class, I would say. Okay, and then let's see. Oh yeah, this is the admissions policy. Shows you can apply online if you want to pursue this. We have a website, Lewis and Clark cc.org is how you can fill out the online forms, and there's a deadline for priority processing, which is December 7th. Now that doesn't mean that if you apply after that you won't get it. That's not what that means. It means if you want to get I don't know, premium spots, or just your best possible chance and get right on this, do it by December 7th. That'll be the kind of first batch as applied. If you have any questions, you can contact the counseling office, which let's see, sir. Trying to see. Oh yeah. They don't have a phone number on there, which is weird. But there it is. 636-443-4957, which Ms. Lobert is one of the counseling staff and is one of the ones that's primarily in charge of making sure that everyone gets signed up. So now I think they're going to have a separate Zoom session to handle admissions questions. So if you have anything like that, I would say kind of hold off and wait for that one, because neither Mr. Crawford nor myself are really involved in that process. But are there any questions you might have about the computer software course? Well, I guess that's a no, unless there's something in the chat. Didn't see if there was or not. Let's see.
How many students per class?
Oh, how many students per class?
Mhm.
Usually that's, I think my upper limit is 18. And I think that's the same for you, isn't it, Mr. Crawford?
My upper limit is actually 16.
Oh, okay. That's a good one there. There is also, I will say, returning students, looking into your second year, always have a priority. Once you've been accepted to Lewis and Clark, your second year is, unless you really screw up somehow, your second year is guaranteed.
And then the other question is, can it be built on Project Lead the Way?
Well, I incorporate Project Lead the Way, which the Project Lead the Way content for their computer science takes up about 30% of what I do. I go way deeper than PLTW does. Just by nature of the fact that I have 2.5 hours every day versus a single class period.
Does anybody else have any questions for Mr. Schmidt? It says, what time is CSD? What time is your class?
Well, there are 2 sessions, and depending on the school district, this is going to be the same actually for everything. Is the morning session is from 7:30 until 10:25ish, and the second session is 11:05 until effectively 1:45.
Yes.
Is when the buses leave.
Yep. And Gabe asks, how do you get a Skills USA membership?
You just pay for it at the beginning of the year. Is the easiest way. There's an online store, I believe, yes, that you just go and you pay the $20 and
Yeah.
after that it happens automatically or magically.
Yes, I can go back to my first couple of slides. Is there a specific question that you had, Mr. Is it Schwartz? Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to look in the chat and answer questions at the same time. So, of course, so for my class, it's a 1-year program. It's for high school juniors and seniors. The CompTIA A+ certification is optional. The PC Pro certification is mandatory. Everything that we go over in the class will prepare you for both of those. Skills USA membership is required, and there's also dual credit offered through State Technical College. Looks like it's for a fee of $264. And as far as the overview for the class, we do binary hexadecimal number systems, troubleshooting for hardware and software, supporting mobile devices, network and infrastructure, IO devices, and virtualization and cloud computing. If there's any other like specific question that you have, I'd be happy to answer that. No problem. Is there anyone else that has any questions for myself or Mr. Schmidt?
Play the Jeopardy theme here.
I'll put the pressure on. Okay, if you guys have any more questions about the admissions process, please feel free to get in contact with the admissions office. You can apply online at lewisclarkcc.org. Like Mr. Schmidt said earlier, December 7th is the priority deadline. So if you kind of want some, your best shot at getting in, December 7th is the time in which you should try and apply. So if you have any questions, please get in contact with us and let us know. All right. Thank you guys for coming, and we hope to see you at Lewis and Clark next year.